What's up everybody, KingGBL here, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be showcasing a very big push that I made in the Open Great League with Talonflame, Dunsparce and Primeape. During Go Battle Week, I started using this team at around 2650 ELO. Now of course, during Go Battle Week, I was up and down. A few days ago, I started off at 2650, I made it all the way up to 2950, and then I started tanking a little bit down to 2600 again. However, with this team, I was able to make a push back from 2650 up to over Legend. Big shout out to everybody who's been watching me streaming these. When we hit Legend on stream, we had over 200 people watching. Big thank you, big shout out. I very much appreciate everybody tuning in. Big thank you, big shout out to everybody who's been in here. In this video, I'm going to go through all of the matchups that I played on the run to Legend. I'm not going to be showcasing everything. I quite literally had about 7 or 8 hours of footage for this team. In fact, I might have had even more than that. I was using this team for multiple days on end. You're going to see in this video that for the most part, we get a lot of good leads, and during the time that I was running this team, it was doing very well into the meta. I also noticed that yesterday somebody showcased an Alolan Ninetales lead, so maybe Talonflame's going to be cooking in the lead currently. What I'll say about this team is, it has its up and downs like every other team, right? Sometimes you get a bunch of Azu leads, and you get a bunch of Toxapex leads. It's just very, very difficult for it at times. But for the most part, I found this to be the most consistent team that I ran for the entire week. I tried multiple different teams, some popular teams, some teams that I came up with myself. A couple of them worked to varying success, but overall, this team works super well, and I do highly recommend this to you. Without any further ado, let's hop into the battles. Drop a like in the video, subscribe. As you can see, we've got a Clodsire here. I take the Earthquake on the monkey. The opponent goes for the catch. They don't quite make it. We get off the Brave Bird with Talonflame, and that's going to be a good game as well played. So basically, on my Legend push here, the last couple of 100 ELO, I definitely had a lot of good leads, but you will see a couple of tricky ones, and I'll try to explain what to do with things like Azu and stuff later in the video. So Malamar lead. Generally speaking, you can take a foul play, and if you have half decent IVs in your Talonflame, you'll make 2 moves before they can farm you down. The HP stat of my Talonflame is 134. or 133 maybe. If you have more than that, I think you just about survive. As you can see, I live this on 1 HP. My Talonflame gets really, really close to getting knocked out. Funny enough, I built a new Talonflame that's not 1484 CP. It's got the exact same HP stat, and it also lives on 1 HP. So if you've got a highly rated Talonflame, mine's a 6, 15, 14. If you've got something better than that, or equal to that, you should be able to survive long enough to get off 2 moves. We bring in Dunsparce, the opponent goes for Super Power, we're going to look to get rid of it. With Malamar lead, you would think that Ape and Dunsparce should be good in the back up a shield. As you can see, the opponent brings in Dugong, I come into my Ape immediately, go for the close combat immediately. This is going to look to absolutely one-shot them, bang, get off my screen, and in comes Drapion. Once again, if it's a Shadow Drapion, you can look to completely one-shot it. The non-Shadow, you don't quite one-shot it, so I think I try to go for a CMP tie here, just to basically force the opponent's energy on this, because I know it's not going to quite knock out. We're going to go for the big close combat, it doesn't quite knock out, but we do end up going for a CMP tie. Because the opponent did not go for the CMP the first time, we're able to get off the second move. That's going to be good games. So yeah, that's how I like to play at Malamar lead. We get a Miltank lead, a rollout user in the front, I just bring in my hard answer, and the opponent brings in their Drifblim. The really good thing about this matchup is, I think if you've got decent IVs, even if it's Shadow Drifblim, I think you still make it to free moves, as long as you throw in good timing here. I decided to call this, the opponent goes for Icy Wind, we're going to get off another Rage Fist, and that means we can get a shield advantage for Talonflame. If the opponent's got a Pokemon in the front, like Miltank, which is a normal typing, they're still weak to Talonflame's moves, right? And what I'm actually starting to think here as well is, they've got a normal in the front, and they've got a Ghost in the back. It could be something like Double Ghost, hopefully it's not Talonflame. The opponent actually brings in the Primeape. The opponent goes for a very aggressive switch here, not wanting to get farmed down. They just sack the Primeape. I have to take this move. The opponent's going to be able to get off an Icy Wind, or a Thunderbolt, or an Ice Beam with Miltank. I'm going to swap straight out here. The clocks are misaligned, we're debuffed. Hopefully we can land this on the Drifblim, but no, we end up just seeing the Miltank come back in. We throw the move here, and this will look to do heavy damage. The opponent actually lets the move go, which I was pretty surprised to see, and we bring in our Dunsparce at this point. This is pretty decent, we can take 2 moves off this pretty easily by the looks of things. I'm going to overfarm here, making sure the opponent does not go for the catch. Back in comes Drifblim, we farm it all the way down with rollouts. Dunsparce just absolutely wrecks Drifblim, and that's going to be a good game as well played. Malamar lead once again. I consider this to be a pretty neutral or like slightly awkward lead. The opponent actually doesn't throw immediately. They normally throw the move before you get to the fly, but that's fine. We get off the move here. Opponent's going to look to get off their first foul play. I'm going to play this out the same way I've been playing it. I've been playing these matches out different ways, so I understand this team perfectly well. So if you're going to run this team, you're going to have to trust me on these things. Don't be just shielding random stuff for Malamar, because as you can see, they oftentimes have Pokemon in the back that are good against Talonflame. So just getting a shield advantage out of that match tends to be a lot better. Now in this matchup right here, it's fairly neutral between Dunsparce and Azu. The moves do about 25% from us, but we sort of outpace them. So it takes about 4 moves to knock out the Azu. You can shield in this match, but generally speaking, what I like to do is set up my Ape for a massive farm down against Azu, if possible. We lift the prior off, I bank the move, because I'm thinking here, it could be a Drifblim, could be something else in the back, and we're going to start loading up an energy here. It means whenever Malamar comes back in, we can just start unleashing these moves. we're going to go for Rage Fist. Of course, it's not going to knock out, but I can't really afford to debuff myself just yet. I will be looking to respect the potential superpower here. They do go for it, so that means we can definitely farm them all the way down. Very, very close there. They most likely come back into Azu to absorb the energy, but they actually come into Superior. This is amazing here. I'm going to go for back-to-back close combats. I'm already boosted. This will look to not quite one-shot them, but we can come in with Dunsparce, go for the Wombo combo play. I still have the move banked on the Ape, so unless the opponent anticipates it, we'll get this off here. And because we're boosted, I think we should be able to Karate Chop or even get off another Rage Fist on the Azu. It's going to be pretty close still. We do actually commit to the close combat, and that's going to be good games well played. My only lose condition in that game was that the opponent catches an Azu. I would have to do a perfect undercharge and farm it down perfectly to come out with a move for the SERP. Anyway, for Alligator lead, horrible lead here. We come into Ape. Normally they catch this move right here. I think the opponent did catch it in this case. Oh, actually they didn't catch it, they just take the move. That's kind of insane. Normally the opponent catches that move because he outpaced to it, so they're like, okay, we get 4 Shadow Claws and then catch. They come into their own Ape. Because I'm boosted one time and they're Shadow, they have to shield this move. I'm thinking here, right, we've got an Ape. They do not resist flying. If I can get all shields down for Talonflame, Talonflame shields down can just go crazy. The opponent will get a little bit of extra energy, which is kind of unfortunate, of course, but we can look to do some work with Talonflame here, hopefully. We're bringing Talonflame. I don't think we can quite commit to the farm down here. Unfortunately, it's kind of annoying that we can't. I think we have to one and throw here because the opponent actually end up just throwing immediately. The opponent catches him for Alligator. This is really good for me. I look to take it out. I hope the Ape comes back in so that I can basically incinerate it down. We're just hoping our Dunsparce is good in the back, and it is absolutely fantastic in the back. Now, against Talonflame, you can easily tank a Brave Bird. I think I end up going for a 2 and throw after this because, as you can see, I'm starting to get quite low. We can take 1 Incinerate. I don't want to take 2. We're going to build up to back-to-back moves. 1 for this, 1 for the Annihilate, and that's going to be good games well played. Getting an energy lead with Talonflame can be just enough to win the match for you at times. Anyway guys, hopping into the next battle here. We do have Talonflame versus Marowak. If they stay in, you're supposed to swap into Ape straight away here, by the way. I accidentally overtapped the Incinerates. I end up letting this move go. What I've started doing is actually shielding this move here, because it can be really annoying. We end up getting a CMP tie in the close combat, which is good, but if the opponent lands an Icy Wind, they can start doing this and shielding. Super annoying stuff. I normally just shield this move. Because I sort of swapped out a little bit too late, I think that's why I decided to let it go. We get 2-to-1 shield advantage for Talonflame, but the opponent actually lets it through. They come in with Drift Bloom. We're going to come in with the hardest answer in the meta to this thing. Daddy Dunsparce is about to come in, start rollouting this down. That's going to be good games. So with Marowak lead, oftentimes they stay in, build up to 6, and then bait the Rock Slide. I normally just let that move go. They always throw the Bone Club, so if they do happen to stay in, you can consider just no-shielding the Bone Club, because like 2 Bone Clubs basically knock you out anyway. They often don't throw the Rock Slide. If they throw it, good for them. But you often get a fly off before they get off their move. So like, just call it, bro, if they stay in. Otherwise, do 1 Incinerate on the Dugong, bring in your thing straight away. That should be fine. As you can see in this matchup, we've got the Dunsparce versus the Drapion safe swap. This match gets really, really close, so you can tank a Crunch and an Aqua Tail. However, if they get a debuff, they can flip this matchup. So here's exactly what you need to know about this. So you do your Incinerate right on the jump off, they are swapping, they get their 2 free turns. You bring in your Dunsparce. If they go for double Crunch, you can flip the matchup, but if they get a debuff and start going Aqua Tails, you can't flip it. So as you can see here, what I decide to do, because we can't take swap, the opponent got the debuff right, this is our next best option. Come in, take an Aqua Tail, farm all the way down, come out with an absolute ton of energy. The opponent actually comes in to jump bluff. I'm thinking at this point, it could be Ape in the back, bang! This is going to one-shot, in comes Ape. This doesn't quite one-shot them, but it's going to be GG's well played nonetheless. So you can see there, like, most of the time you do want to take alignment, but in matchups like that with Drapion, you're not always guaranteed to get switch, so you have to have a backup plan, which is to farm down with Talonflame. Okay, Toxipic's lead. This is funny, but these people shield this move. I think a lot of people shield this move. I don't know if it's because they're good or bad, to be honest with you, but they actually take it. A lot of people shield that if it's an Azu in the lead or Toxipic's in the lead. I stay in and do 4 in Brave Bird on the Azu. I do 3 in Brave Bird on this. If it's a Corsola lead, 4 in Brave Bird. I'm going to really quickly pause the video just so I can explain this stuff to you a little bit. So Azu leads, of course it's very awkward for you. You've got Dunsparce in the back, which is pretty neutral into it at best. You've got Primeape in the back, which can pretty much 2-shield through it, but you don't really want to bring that in there. With Talonflame, my goal is to do 4 and throw. That's 20 turns into a potential 21 turns. If they go for their 7th, that's 21 turns, and you've got 20, you can just throw it and then dip into Dunsparce. Oftentimes what happens is they 6 an Ice Beam, and then you can 1 and throw the Brave Bird. A lot of times, if you shield, they'll let the move go. Likewise with Dugong lead, if they go for Icy Wind on 6, and then you 1 and throw after, they oftentimes let that move go. With the Corsola lead, that team is oftentimes Wigglytuff, and Diggersby in the back. That's really bad for your backline. You sort of need to do something about that. So if you get a Corsola lead, shield the first move. I would recommend going for fly. Go for double fly in that matchup, because 2 flies basically knocks it out. 1 Brave Bird will pretty much knock out a Corsola as well. But yeah, those are things you have to watch out for. If you get those really like awkward leads where you can do very heavy damage with fly, but they can of course like bubble you, ice beam you or whatever, you know, that's something you have to take into consideration. You are ABA weak to Azu and Toxapex, so you do need to put work into those Pokemon in the front. Anyway, hopping back into the battle here, we land the Drill Run on this Gastrodon here. Generally speaking, you can live an Earth Power from this and normally get off free Drill Runs, so they have to throw pretty quickly. In these types of situations, you just kind of have to let this go. Get a form of Talonflame, and then look to try and sweep it up with that. If they threaten the Water Pulse, I do like to respect it. You can definitely take a Body Slam here, so we probably do end up taking the second one. I think I actually decide to keep some health on this. It's on 1 HP. We do look to get rid of it here. We do have a lot of energy with Talon, and they actually come in with Toxapex. They are getting pretty low, so we're going to go for a Fly here, and we'll look to see what's in the back. I'm expecting this to be double slap at this point. They actually do come into the Golurk. Can we make this move? We do just about make it. Now this is going to be a race between Golurk and Ape. Can Ape actually make the 2 Rage Fists we need? I think we're actually maybe cooked here. I think I probably lose this one, right? They go for Shadow Punch, we go for 1 and Rage Fist. It's going to be really close. Yeah, the opponent just like pieces here. Wait, the opponent goes for CMP tie. That's super lucky. The opponent I think had the move 1 Mud Slap before that, but they end up going for CMP tie. We do take that win. So the double slap team can be a little bit awkward for this team, but we actually get the Mud Slap in the lead. Now when you get Mud Slap in the lead, you can often bet that it's wiggly in the back. I play this very similarly to how I do everything basically. I shield the first move. If it's a Water Pulse, of course that would be great to shield. We look to 1 in for the Brave Bird here. After shielding, if you're at a decent enough ELO, people tend to just let the moves go. Yep, they just let it go. They come into Pidgeot here in this case. I'm going to like to get off a dying move. I think I just hold on to the... I actually end up aggro swapping. Not too sure about that play, because if they swap out, I could end up having Primeape on this later. However, I guess with shields down, Primeape can do some work. They end up going for Brave Bird. I go for this on a CMP time, because I want to make sure that if the opponent goes for Brave Bird, we're able to look to one-shot it. They come into Talonflame. I think they definitely should have shielded their Pidgeot or something. This is very, very hairy for them. We get that move off. They take us out here. We still have a shield, and we still have a relatively healthy Talonflame here. We get that Incinerate for him. I can look to actually just let this go at this point as well, because close combat from Ape just does a lot of damage. The opponent was a back-to-back moves. I didn't want to risk the CMP time. They go for a fly here. I'm going to look to go for close combat, and you're going to see that close combat just does so much damage. Even whenever it's resisted, bang! We take that out from like 40% health. Close combat, if it is single resisted, will do more than neutral Rage Fist. In comes the Feraligatr matchup. If they're Shadow, they can look to 2-shot you. So this match is actually very decent for Shadow Feraligatr. It's kind of awkward because if you bring in your Ape as well, if they call the Rage Fist, you have to go down 2 shields, so it's really, really awkward, the safe swap. Depending on how much damage they've done to you, you can sort of shield through this thing. You sort of have to play this out the best way you can. Thankfully, we're able to farm it down. We go for Rock Slides on the Ariados, and we're looking in a very amazing position here. We have just the hardest wall to Ariados and Talonflame. As long as it's something that's not too horrible for the backline, we should be chilling here. They actually come into the Quagsire here. We can look to go on ahead and go for a Drill Run. This is basically GG's. They have to shield this to keep some health at this point, and they're still going to be forced to throw. Dunsparce super bulky, and I definitely really enjoyed using this Pokemon. We can come in with Ape, or come in with Talon. We can come in with Eiler, and we can force them to throw Stone Edge here. That means they're going to be basically dry, and we can basically just go for double close combats with the Primeape. We can live an Aqua Tail off this. We tend to be able to live most moves from, like, you know, the sort of lower hitting moves. Things like Aqua Tails, Icy Winds, Brines, even like a Scorching Sand from Diggersby. We're able to live these moves normally, and kind of get off 2 moves. It just kind of depends on the situation, but the opponent here, they decide to let it go. Their only win cons is to call the bait, and in the next one we have a Wiggly lead with a Pidgeot safe swap. More often than not, they will go for Feather Dance here. I like to get this move off immediately to see what the opponent wants to do. If they start shielding, I might consider just letting the move go. Because they no shield, I'm expecting a Brave Bird. We can look to do heavy damage into Wigglytuff as well, so I'm pretty happy just to comfortably take swap here. Don't really like going down shields here, but I think that's our best option in this case. We can get off a lot of moves on Wigglytuff, force them to throw their energy, or even look to almost take them out if they allow us to, so this will be really good. We just need to hope that Talonflame and our Primeape can look to basically do whatever's in the back. The opponent actually gets a little bit greedy, doesn't throw the Swift, and looks to commit to the farm down. They just get taken out themselves. In comes Drifblim, and we're going to look to come in with the Primeape at this point. We outpace the Drifblim pretty severely, so if I can just look to get off 2 moves, we'll be in a very good position here. But basically, because it's an Unshadow, I do think Talonflame holds onto a Shadow Ball. They actually go for the Shadow Ball on the Ape. I found a lot of people Shadow Balling the Ape in that situation there, because Icy Wind does not knock out. They let the move go, and because they let it go, I can come in with Talonflame. I do end up going for the move here, but I could just commit to the farm down at this stage. They have to Shadow Ball here, they decide to let it go. That's going to be good games well played. So overall, that was pretty straightforward. Wiggly can be awkward if they safe swap Gastrodon. If they have a Wiggly lead, that can be very awkward, because you don't really have a direct answer to it. You can come in with Ape at that point and try to get 2 shields off the opponent, and then look to try to sweep that way. If they have like a Basti in the back, which they do sometimes, it can be pretty terrible. Generally speaking, it is Mud Slap in the back, so you can sort of just try to play it out a little bit. If you stay in with Talonflame, you do end up giving the opponent a massive energy lead, so that's not ideal. God bless this trainer right here, I played them a few times. We just have a very, very hard answer to their backline. They have Malamar, I think Carbink and Venusaur. We can take a move with Dunsparce on the Venusaur pretty easily, and Primeape just completely wrecks the other thing. They don't throw the move right away here, they go for the extra. I'm guessing they're trying to get off 2 frenzies, one for Ape, one for, of course, Dunsparce here. We let this go here. We're looking to put this all on the Ape at this point. Yep, we'll shield the Frenzy Plant, of course. Carbink's pretty far away from a move. We'll go for this immediately. Look to try to get rid of the opponent, not mess around at all. And yeah, we're in a very good position now. We're boosted up. Even if the opponent caught that in Carbink, I could have just farmed up a lot and then built up to 2 close combats or whatever, so GG's. Jump off lead for Alligator Safe Swap. You do your 1 Incinerate, as you normally do, come into Dunsparce. Again, if it's an Unshadow, you can take 2 Hydros easily. It's much more easy to take Swap against this if it's an Unshadow. If it is Shadow, it does get a little bit hairy. You sort of have to try to play it out as best as you can, hope they throw in bad timing or something. But with this, you can just comfortably take the 2 moves. You're not really at any risk of getting Shadow Clawed down, and you can look to either peel shields away from the opponent, or of course take switch advantage. With Jump Off Lead, you generally do want to take swap, so if the opponent shields, I'm going to shield right back, right? Yeah, we're going to shield this move here. Look to run in for the Rock Slide, or sorry, yeah, I actually do like to go Rock Slide here sometimes, because the opponent will sometimes catch and Jump Off here. Just get the Rock Slide damage through on them. From here, I don't think the opponent can farm me down. You have a choice here, you can either take the Incinerate with Talonflame, or go for the Rollout down. Because they're fighting so hard for it, I tend to like going for this instead. The opponent gets very minimal farm as well. Whenever they're hard, like shielding like that, you just have to assume they've got a really hard answer to Talon in the back. So you kind of have to like, yeah, like look at this, it's Miltank in the back. By the way, Ice Beam does about 60% to a Primeape, so if you're ever in the situation, you can take one, and if you've got a decent IV Primeape, they can't really roll out down before you can get off 2 or 3 moves. So that's definitely worth keeping in mind. Sandslash lead, Dream lead, just our whole team beats this. They come into Dragonite, we come into this. This is looking just like a complete RPS at this point. I'm going to overfarm a little bit. I think I will respect this move. I probably should have threw right away. I thought the opponent would throw at that same time. They go for Dragon Claw here. I'm not expecting a shield off the opponent. They do let it through, and then they come into their Sandslash here. Makes sense because they know I've got a Talonflame. They can't really afford to, you know, start shielding this or whatever, so they just basically sack this here, look to get damage through in Dunsparce. I kind of recognize they might be a little bit weak to this in the back, so I decided to dip into my Ape here. They come into Azu, and I'm really happy that I made this play. Whenever you've got hard answers to the lead, sometimes it's better just to get out, especially if you're doing like double super effective damage with your counters, Karate Chops in this case. Getting out there was the better play, because it means I can get off a move on this Azu with the Dunsparce. I'm basically forced to shield here. I want to try to get through as much Karate Chop and Rage Fist damage as possible here. Try to get the opponent as low as possible, peel the shields away from the opponent, because if we get the shields down, Talonflame at that point can look to deal with it. So yeah, we get this move through here. I think the opponent will be very close to getting to their next move. I actually swap into the Talonflame. We can tank a move with Talon. This might be something that you'll have to do with this team every so often, tanking an Ice Beam with Talon on Azu. If you get the Azu in the lead, I don't recommend doing it straight away, but if you, for example, get off your Brave Bird, swap out, right? Farm something down, and you're still healthy with Talon, and you don't want to go down 2 shields or whatever, you can look to do that instead. Basically get the moves off with Talon and tank the Ice Beam. This is complete hard RPS right here. They come into this bad boy. Love to see it. On my Legend run, I definitely got a lot of good leads towards the end, but, you know, of course, over the course of the week, a lot of good, a lot of bad, a lot of mixed. I think if you're skilled enough, you can definitely hit Legend with this team. You will have to ride the wave, though. You can't just expect to hop on and just get, like, loads of wins for free. Nothing really works that way. Again, this is another situation where my shit's still alive, and I think like, I don't want to stay in here and just let them get a load of energy. I come into Ape. They do get off a move. It's tempting to shield here actually. I do let this Ice Punch go, assuming they've got answers to it, and they do have Toxapex in the back. So once again, preserving that Dunsparce there has potentially paid off for me here. We're only going to get off one more move. I'm going to get off a close combat in the end. I could have free quickly, but I wanted to see if I could make it to 2. We get off a close combat, does a huge amount of damage. We come into Dunsparce once again. I need to start stripping shields back off the opponent here. We're going to look to go for 1 and drill run. We need to get this in a range where they're not going to jab us down with Toxapex, basically. We come into Talonflame now because we're ahead in energy. We can basically look to go for back-to-back flies. I am expecting the opponent here to potentially dip into their Sand Slash, so we just sort of have to be careful about that. What I'm going to do here is pause a turn, try to see the Poison Jab coming through, and then look to tap the fly. Of course, this game's broken, and that doesn't always work these days, but that is generally the play that you want to do. I come into this, they get absolutely eviscerated, and that's going to be good games well played. So the Talonflame Mirror, here's how I like to play this out. We go for a potential CMP tie here. If you've got a sort of attack weight, I like to call the first move. Like 9 out of 10 times they don't Brave Bird here. If you've got a very good Talonflame, you can live a Brave Bird. Mine probably dies to it there, but I just like to call it. The opponent calls it, and if they call it, you come in and start getting rollouts out, because they'll go for the extra Incinerate. As you can see, the Talonflame's on 1 now. They're not getting into another move no matter what they come up against, because we can triple Karate Chop it down, or of course we can do 1 rollout on it or 1 Incinerate on it. By making that swap after landing the fly, we're able to guarantee that the Talonflame is basically as good as dead. We go for our second drill run here, the opponent lets it through. I think I'm going to let this go, come in with the Primeape, start Karate Chopping it, or I don't think I go for Incinerates here, I think I go for Karate Chops. Start getting ahead on this. If they bring back in Talonflame, we can look to Karate Chop it all the way down, and yeah, that's going to be good games well played. With this lead, they tend to have Dunsparce in the back themselves. This is a really tricky lead. It's on Thunderfang. I come into my Dunsparce, they bring in the Superior. Because it's Shadow Steelix, we can look to do some heavy damage with Brave Bird later on. So that's basically the plan here. Try to draw out the grass. There's often grass in the back of Steelix. Draw out the grass. We'll take the Frenzy Plant here. They have to go for double Frenzy. If they go for Ace, you can get off free moves here generally. Or they'll have to further last a bit of energy. Sometimes they do Ace here. You do survive it if you've got a decent Dunsparce. I think mine's 0, 13, 12 or something. We come in with Talonflame. They actually come into the Guzzlord. They're ABI weak to counter. This is really interesting. How do I decide to play this out? This is like very hit or miss. I think I decide to... I think I YOLO it, because it's the opponent's win con to basically call this. I decide. Bang! They let it through. Okay, this is good. They come into the Superior. I'm going to look to try and ramp up through this. Of course, they're going to start shielding. If the opponent shields with this, our switch clock is coming back up. We do get a CMP tie, which is amazing. The opponent's going to shield this move, and we'll see what the opponent wants to do here. Yep. They're going to shield. I think that was a bad move by them. I think they should have put it all on Steelix. Now this way, I can come in with Talonflame to start going through this with Incinerates here. I'm going to shield the Psychic Fangs, of course. If you build up to 100 energy, it's enough for a Brave Bird and a Fly. I think Brave Bird will be very close to knocking out. If not, we can look to tap the Fly. Good games well played. This is a negative lead, and we were able to take this out. We Brave Bird that one. We look to go for the Fly on the Superior. That's good games well played. So you get a Steelix lead, just come into your rollout user. But guys, that is it. We hit Legend. It was a very difficult season. We got up to 3002. We're up roughly 350 ELO with this team. Big shout out to everybody who's been tuning in. Big shout out to everybody who's in GBL running this team. My friend was telling me that you guys are running this team out there, so big shout out to everybody who's been tuning in. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Drop a like in the video, subscribe to the channel if you've not yet done so, and let me know your thoughts and opinions, or if you have any questions about the team, put it in the comment section down below. Feel free to join us in Discord if you want to join our community, and a big thank you to everybody. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll catch you all next time.